All right. When I went to college, I packed 4 pairs of gloves. 1 pair of short white gloves, 1 pair of long white satin gloves, 1 pair of long white kid gloves, and 1 pair of long black satin gloves. We had an extensive dress code at Judson Baptist College for Women in Marion, Alabama. And it was one of the oldest women's colleges in the country and had a reputation for stellar academics and quirky traditions. And we had so many chances to dress up, especially at the Story of the Year activities. Now, gloves were not required for the socializing with the cadets at the military college a few blocks away. The short white gloves were for Rose Sunday, and the long white gloves were for the president's reception. And there's a picture of me before the president's reception. I'm sitting in our historic parlors on an antique couch, wearing a long formal gown, and my hair's pinned back demurely, and I've got the long white kid gloves with my hands folded in my lap, and behind me is a portrait of our president, Dr. McCrummon, and he'd been president since the 50s or the 60s, and he was also an ordained Southern Baptist minister, which was a requirement for any man who was president of Judson. And the following week, he gave the sermon and address at our honor code ceremonial signing at Jewett Chapel. It was in the Jewett Hall, Judson Chapel. And that was not required for having white gloves, but we did wear white dresses. And so during his address, Dr. McCrummon talked about what makes Judson girls special. And he talked about our academic achievements, and he talked about the many career accomplishments of its alumni. And he said, really, none of that really matters as much as the most important job for any Judson graduate, that of Christian wife and mother. And he said, when you educate a man, you educate a person. When you educate a woman, you educate a family. And I was sitting there thinking, what the fuck did he just say? Am I not a person? Is my degree, which I am here for, not as important because I'm just a woman? And why does he keep calling us girls all the time? The hell am I doing in this place? Well, I was there because I'd won their big academic scholarship, and my parents were very proud that I was at this school, and I had grown up Southern Baptist. I knew that it was going to have some, outdated ideas and rules, but this deal was getting worse all the time. And I wasn't even Baptist anymore. And I was wondering, is this big scholarship going to be worth it? I mean, you go to college and you're looking forward to stretching your wings and kind of learning what kind of person you're going to be as an adult and what's your place in the world, and I couldn't stretch my wings in a cage. And it wasn't just McCrummon and the extreme dress code, which included a very long list of all the things you couldn't wear to class. It was the overprotective, paternalistic, infantilizing rules, which included things like a sign-out card in our dorm where you had to say where you were going, what time you left, who you were with, what time you actually came back, and you couldn't sign out and just go anywhere. No, we had rules. There were limits and curfews. And on the weekends, unless you had your parents' opinion, your parents' permission, you couldn't go anywhere except to your parents or to go visit a girlfriend who lived at a college in an all-female dorm. That was it. Well, so that's what I immediately did as soon as I possibly could. I hit the road to Montgomery, where my best friend from high school, Beth, was a student at Huntington College in Montgomery. That was great. So the next weekend, I took some of my fellow cage birds, some of my Judson friends. We hit the road to Montgomery, and we were blasting the Indigo Girls and singing along to Closer to Fine at the top of our lungs, just like the Barbie movie. That's a documentary. And it was great. At Huntington, I had this little opportunity to get this kind of slice of what normal college life could actually be. And it was wonderful. And I was even telling the truth on my sign-out card. Fortunately, it didn't have a line that said, here's all the trouble I'm going to get up to while I'm there. And so Beth told me that weekend, hey, we've all got tickets to see the Indigo Girls. They're coming to Birmingham. You have to come. I got you a ticket. I was like, yes. Oh, shit. It's a weeknight, and I have an 11 o'clock curfew on weeknights. So what are you going to do? Well, according to Judson rules, I did the only thing I could do. I called my mommy. And I said, Mom, we didn't have cell phones then. Mom, can you call the dorm mother? Because Beth got us tickets to the Indigo Girls, and you know they're my favorite band. Can you call our dorm mother and give permission for me to stay out past curfew? And my mom said, that's ridiculous. You're 18 years old. Why should I have to give permission for you to stay out late? I was like, I know, Mom, I know. It's a Justin thing. Please. She's fine. So then the next day, I talked to the dorm mother, and she said, be back at midnight. And I said, Mom, no. The concert doesn't start until 8, and it's in Birmingham. That's an hour and a half. And there's an opening act. 10,000 Maniacs is opening. There's no way I can make it back at midnight. And she said, be back at 12. Oh, so come on, at this point I had done all the right things. I had followed all the rules. I had told the truth to get to this concert, but I had no intention of being back at midnight. I may have told the truth to get there, but I was going to lie to stay. Because fortunately, I had become an accomplished liar in high school when it came to staying out late. What do you wanted to do? So when the concert was over, I found a payphone, and I called Mama Nall, and I said, oh, Mama Nall, it's Dina. Oh, I have 2 phones. I really have to see that. Oh, Mama Nall, it's Dina. I'm so sorry. I'm fine, but I dropped my keys in the concert, and it was really dark, and I couldn't see, and I had to wait till the concert was over, and they turned on the lights, and it's okay. I found my keys. I had to crawl around under some chairs, but I'm going to go get in my car. I'm going to come straight there, but don't worry, I'm going to drive safe, and I won't speed. And she said, okay. So lying also worked. This was fantastic. And that's how I got through the rest of that year. My sign-out card became a web of lies. As I just tore up the roads between Judson and anywhere but there. There were unsanctioned road trips to the beach. There were all-nighters with my friends when we would go up and down Fraternity Road, University of Alabama, 45 minutes up the road. One night when I was telling the truth on my sign-out card, I was 20 minutes late for curfew and was confined to my dorm room for 3 days. I could only leave for class, meals, mandatory chapel, the library, and the bathroom. So no, the scholarship was not worth it. I started applying to other colleges, and I got accepted to Auburn University. And fortunately, my parents were big Auburn fans, and it cost less to send me to Auburn than it did to let me stay at Judson with that huge scholarship. And they let me transfer War Eagle. So there's one last photo of me on our last required attendance, formal dress, gloves required event. And there's a picture of me in the same parlor, on the same couch, wearing the same dress, this time with the black gloves. And my hair's down, a little wild, and I've got a big old grin on my face because I'm flipping off the portrait of a Crumb in my life.